We are almost at the end of the year. With just one more video to go. I started making games more than 15 years ago, and it has been so far a great learning experience. Let me talk a little bit about what I learned about game development through some of the games I made or tried to make after the intro. Welcome back. If you are new to the channel, I make games and you can download many of my games from the link in the description below. In 2010, one of the first games I tried to make was intended for console, the Xbox 360, and it was called Zombie Crusade. It started with a simple idea, a simple game. I wanted to make something like Castle Crashers, but with a mix of tower defense, town building, and real-time strategy. By hearing at this description you can guess that it had too many things for a console game, and after half a year of development I ran it into my Xbox 360 and it didn't work so well. It struggled a lot to run properly. It was running well in my computer but it didn't on console, and still I was far from completing it, so I gave up and started a more simpler game. 2012. My next game was Elements, a puzzle type of game that was running well on Xbox 360 until I decided to add character animations and spent almost 6 months creating an animation library, which ran well on PC but didn't work on console. Again, the most difficult part was to make it fun. The objective was to merge elements to make new ones or stronger ones. It became very slow and quite boring to play. The rewards and feeling was not there, so I turned it into a puzzle game, which didn't feel right at the end. Stop this game too. 2013, I always wanted to play a space game where you can have a kind of Sims adventure with your crew and explore planets. So I started Junkcraft Armada, where your crew matters and build your spaceship and travel a large universe. Development went well for a few years until I got stuck in real physics part. I wanted to add water and make it float in space, and many other different liquids. There are two main factors that affect it. One is temperature and the other one is pressure. Based on that, I got this diagram where water becomes liquid, gas or solid, but there are other states. As I started to look at different elements that you can mine, I had to look for the same graph for other elements, and to my surprise, there is none available for other elements. There is still a lot of research going on different materials, and the information is not freely available on the web, so I got stuck in that part. By 2018, I had a working prototype, but the game became a lot more complex than what I was able to handle at that time, and the point that made me lose it was the user interface. So in 2019, I decided to make a standard library. Since every skill had different controls and different logic, it was very difficult to add anything new to the game and not break everything else. So I made that library, but it took me about 3 years and a half to finish, most of it with an editor. By the time I finished it, my libraries went outdated, so going back to Junkcraft Armada meant a huge migration. So instead I decided to write shorter games. From 2019, I made an airport management game, which I dropped a few months later, then a fulfillment center, which I can show a little bit here, and it was just a game concept. Organize your fulfillment center deliveries and upgrade it over time with more challenges. I found it a little bit boring after some time, so by the end of 2019 I created a card game called Ciudad Liberita. Only had the time to create a few dozen cards before I dropped it. It became too complex to balance and the amount of art to draw was quite time consuming for me. By 2022 I had a working user interface tool and decided to start releasing games. Took me 6 months to create all the tools and framework, and in 2023 I released my first game, Space Bug Wars. It was created to test the whole game framework. Then Loot Mouse to test the user interface. Then The Last Mob Witness, a side-scroller to enable animation controller and map editor. So I made a remastered version of it with better tools, but were too integrated to the game, so I cannot reuse them. A new lesson learned, and later Highway Burnout to test procedural generation with a standard particle library which I'm still using today. This year it was very difficult to release a complete game. I made Castaway Card Survivor, which is playable but still lacked a lot of content. Then I made Copper Atrocity, which is an automation mining game in another planet. Still I want to finish this game, but it was designed to be like a real-time strategy game with factory and mining in mind. But there was a major module that I need to make, which is the one I'm working now, the dialogue system. So I started this new Kung Fu game called Kung Fu Clairvoyance, where you can see the future and take actions, or change the course of history by traveling back in time. I still have a lot of ideas for it, and looking to finish it early next year. Lots of lessons learned over the years. There are a few more small projects here and there, but one of the big most troubled one was the animation library from 2014. I still lack a tool like that, so I would like to incorporate it into my new games. What do you think? Have you made many games or working in just one? What have you learned? What is your plan for next year? Let me know in the comments below. If you want to support my work, please click like and subscribe and click on the notification bell so you do not miss my next update. Thank you so much for watching my journey. See you next week in the last video of the year.